Hey, welcome back. It's Miss Perry bringing you another reading lesson for today. So, let's take a look at what you'll be learning today. You will learn about nonfiction text and the elements within a nonfiction text. Okay, so during the lesson introduction, you heard the words nonfiction text. Now, you may or may not know what that means, but don't worry, because as always, I'm here to help you understand it. Nonfiction text is a story that contains true or factual information. So, in other words, nonfiction text is simply a different way of saying that a story is real. Take a second to think about a story that you've read or heard that was true or has happened in real life. I have one. This nonfiction text is titled Hidden Figures and is a story about the real-life events of several African American women that worked for NASA. Because the information in this text is true, this book is a nonfiction text. Alright, now that we know what nonfiction text is, we can move on to learning about the elements of a nonfiction text. And when I say elements, I just mean the parts. So, let's learn the parts of a nonfiction text. First, you have what's called the point of view. And when we talk about point of view, we simply want to know who's telling the story. Let's take the story of the Three Little Pigs, for example. Now, we only know the story where the wolf was trying to eat the pigs, right? Well, did you know that the wolf has a story from his point of view? Meaning, he was telling us the story where he got a chance to tell what really happened. Point of view can change because sometimes people see things differently. However, in a story, there's always someone telling the story, whether it's the narrator or a character. Either way, it's their point of view. Next, we have what's called character development. During character development, the author creates characters that catch our attention. They want characters that look like us, sound like us, and enjoy the same things we enjoy. The author asks themselves, how can I make my characters relate to my reader? If a character in your favorite book looked like you, would they be tall or short? Would they be a girl or a boy? Would they have dark hair or light hair? That's all a part of character development. Okay, so far we've covered point of view and character development. What have we covered? Good. Point of view and character development. Let's keep going. Another element of nonfiction text is narrative. The narrative is simply how the story was told. Did the author start at the beginning? Did they introduce the characters to you and then jump into the story? Or sometimes the author may start in the middle of all the action just to get your attention. Then they'll finish the story. And you'll see this a lot in movies. The last and final element is dramatization. That's a really big word for the day. Dramatization. The author wants to be as dramatic as possible in a story. But how dramatic are they? Did they make you cry? Was the character being extra and just doing way too much? Did the story make you crack up? All those things are part of the dramatization of a story. Okay, let's recap what we learned today. There was so much information and some really big words, so make sure you pay attention. We learned what nonfiction text is. And that's just another way to say a true or real story. We also learned the elements of a nonfiction text, which are point of view, or who's telling the story. Character development, which is when the author develops characters that relate to me. They may look like me, sound like me, or like the same things that I like. Next, we have narrative, and that's how the author chose to tell the story. What order did they go in? And lastly, we had dramatization. How dramatic was the author when writing the story? Whew. Okay, that was a lot, and hopefully I didn't lose you. Go ahead, lock all this information in your head, and be ready when we meet next week. But don't move. Stay tuned for math with Miss Barnes.